Greetings friends, welcome to my game room. I'd like to talk to you today about a very interesting little game here that's called Jarmo. Jarmo comes to us from Polish tradition, but it's much more deep-seated than that. The history goes back to the 1200s. Here's how the legend goes. It is said that this little game was played by Batu Khan. Batu Khan was the grandson of Genghis Khan. Now when Genghis Khan died in 1227, he entrusted his offspring and the future generations with the expansion of the empire. And Batu Khan was in charge of the armies of the West, which meant that he invaded Ukraine and Russia and the lands of northeastern Europe, which included what today we call Poland. It is said that he would take this game with him on his conquests and play with his generals. And the people of Poland, when they learned this game from the conquering Mongols, adopted it into their own culture and played the game. Now there's another variant of the game called Jasir, which is also played in Eastern Europe. And the word Jasir in the Tatar language, which was what the Mongols spoke, means archer. And so the pieces in the game are called archer. Apparent chaotic layout of the board causes some people hesitation, but it is intriguing, to say the least, to learn how to recognize patterns on this board that keep it in balance. And the intriguing thing as well is that once you've played the game a little bit and you start to recognize some of these patterns, rotate the board 90 degrees and it becomes a completely different puzzle to work. There are also a couple of other unique aspects to this game which we'll talk about after you learn the rules to the game Jarmo. Each player receives 10 pegs. There are two kinds of pieces for each player, archers and keshig, which are the royal guards. One player has 5 white archers and 5 yellow keshig. The other has 5 black archers and 5 red keshig. Players can decide which colors to play and who goes first by any means they like. The game begins with 5 archers on each player's nearest row. The keshig pegs are held on reserve off the board. Archers and keshig move in the same way. On each turn, one peg may be moved into any position connected by the adjoining lines on the board. If such a move reaches a space occupied by an enemy piece, that piece is removed from the board. When an archer captures an enemy piece, the archer is replaced by a keshig. Let me explain why that matters. When an archer reaches the enemy's first row, that archer cannot be moved, although it can be captured. When a keshig reaches the enemy's first row, the active player may take back one of their captured pieces from the other player and place it on any one of their own available starting positions. If no spaces are open, they hold that peg until a space becomes open. Placing a retrieved peg in this manner is not a separate turn, but occurs as soon as a position becomes available. Just like the archers, the keshig can also be captured while they sit on the enemy's back row. When either player gets any 5 of their pieces to the enemy's first row, the game is over. And now the scores are tallied. 2 points are awarded for each archer or keshig that has reached the other player's first row. 1 point is awarded for each additional peg a player has on the board at the end of the game. So that's Jarmo. There's some interesting aspects to this as far as the promotion of the pieces and the fact that when the game is over, it's the scoring that counts. And that's kind of unusual in these little 2-player strategy games, especially from the time period that this game came from. To say that the game might be ended by the player who actually ends up losing the game because of the scoring. Very nifty little game. Definitely encourage you to check it out. Check the links in the show notes down here to get your own copy of Jarmo. As always, thanks so much for tuning in here and your support of the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Click the little bell there so we'll let you know when we've got some more videos coming out and learn a lot of these classic games from around the world. And on that note, let me say what I always say. Be sure to play every day.